This is one of those stories that's so ridiculous that only a liberal could possibly think of a solution to our health care problem such as this. So Gavin Newsom, who's probably going to be the governor of California shortly, Gavin Newsom declared that he wants to, think about this. Think this through, this headline. The government should pay for universal health care for illegal immigrants. Folks, think this through, okay? I get it. We should all have empathy. We're the richest country on earth. Totally understand. My wife was a legal immigrant to the country. But think about how ridiculous this is. Now, Milton Friedman, the great economist, once brought up a very simple, almost tautological statement. You can have open borders or you can have a welfare state. But you can't have open borders with a welfare state. Now, why? You can't have open state borders and a welfare state either. Folks, what's to stop the entire globe from somehow sneaking into the state of California, laying claim to its medical services at the expense of its citizens, and bankrupting the entire state? Simple question. No, I'm not messing around. This is a very serious question for the liberals who watch the show. Because you don't support strong border enforcement, you want to abolish ICE, and now you want California to pick up the tab for universal health care for anybody in the state, whether they can prove residency in the state or the country at all. A very simple arithmetic, economic, mathematical, financial question for you. What is to stop that from bankrupting the entire state and picking up the tab for the health care of hundreds of millions of people? What's this? Just cross the border, stop in a hospital in San Diego. If you can make it up north, go up to Los Angeles. You can make it up farther north, you can go up to San Francisco. What's to stop people from walking into California and laying claim to its hospitals and medical services at the taxpayers' expense in California? What's to stop the bill from being endless? This is an outrageous proposal, and I feel bad because, as I've told you before, if you watch the show, I love California. I mean it. There's some really cool people over there. I spend a lot, well, not a lot, but a good amount of time there. I enjoy it. I try to go out once a year. It's a beautiful place with beautiful weather, an incredible, obviously, technology industry in Silicon Valley. A healthy, despite the California's government's efforts to crush it, a relatively healthy job market, and the place is being destroyed by utter absurdities like a policy like this. We're going to pay for universal health care for anybody in the state or the country, whether you're here legally or not. Come on, folks. This mathematically can't possibly work. I wish liberals would wake up to the fact that the money fairy doesn't exist. The money fairy isn't real, okay? Government doesn't produce anything. It doesn't add value. You see my phone here? This was made by Apple. Apple adds value. Got a little picture of my wife and kids on there, right? Apple adds value. It takes this glass, it takes these microchips inside, it takes the circuitry, and it combines these, in essence, relatively cheap items, and it combines them into an expensive computer component like this phone. The government doesn't do that. The government doesn't add value. The government just takes and takes and takes from people. It doesn't build anything. The government is not a private enterprise. The government takes from the taxpayers. If you're going to open the taxpayers' wallets to finance universal health care for the rest of the world, and who have no requirements at all to either pay taxes in California or even to be in the state legally, this is an outrageous arithmetic impossibility. And only a liberal would think of such a ridiculous, absurd policy. Vote, yes, he's probably going to win, sadly, Newsom. But you're looking at a certain bankruptcy if we follow ridiculous plans like this. I'm just looking out for you, California. I love you, man. I do. But you got to stop voting people like this into office.